All right, we go from that to Kane backstage again, and he's on the phone with somebody, and he lets them know, hey, just let Triple H and Stephanie know that everything's under control. And this is when we get our next Diva segment, because then Alicia Fox, Cameron, Summer Rae, Natalya, they all come in, and they're all kissing up to Kane and saying, look, we know that Naomi's pinned Nikki, a few times now. She definitely deserves a title opportunity, but we want you to show the authority that you care about giving Divas a chance by, giving all of us a chance and determining a number one contender. And he said, fine, we're going to have a battle royal next week to determine a new number one contender. And I have to say, even though I feel like this is kind of cramping in on Naomi's opportunity, I actually like that we have a women's matchup set up for next week, almost to kind of hype it a little bit.
Yes.
Normally matches like this happen on the fly. This actually, we got it made ahead of time. It's like, no, this is what you have to look forward to next week. It's actually, I don't want to be hyperbolic about it, but in its own weird way, it kind of makes the women seem almost like an attraction. Like, hey, you're going to want to tune into this because we're determining a new contender for Nikki Bella's championship. So I like this a lot. Anything you want to say about it?
Dude, I think it's great that they're finally sort of going out on a limb to try to make people care, or not even try to get people to care about the Divas division.
Definitely. I think some people were concerned. I mean, we did touch on AJ earlier in the show, when they said, well, now that AJ's retired, you can give Divas a chance goodbye. And I hope that's not the case. And it seems like right now it isn't. So we'll see what happens going forward. I'm assuming Naomi's going to win this thing and really just stake her claim, but what an upset it would be if she didn't win it. I don't know. Maybe they're just going to kind of prolong it a little bit. But we go from that to Renee Young backstage with Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns says, look, if you thought what I did out there was impressive, just wait and see what I do next. And then we go from that to Sheamus coming to the ring. And, he cuts another promo saying, hey, look, before my next victim comes out, I want you all to be able to look at what a real man looks like. Fans start another "you look stupid" chant, and then Sheamus just kind of smiles it off, kind of lets them get it out of their system. And then he says, you know what? What? Because I don't look like your heroes, Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, those insects? I'm a true warrior in an insect's world. And again, putting it down. Again, it's like Ashton, I think you said on Sheamus' return, or the promo we cut on SmackDown last Thursday, he's got a little bit of Batista in him, talking down to the smaller guys, but the guys that are more beloved by the audience. So I like that. I like that that's the route he's going.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get interrupted by a Daniel Bryan or a Dolph Ziggler. I thought maybe Dolph Ziggler would cut him off because Sheamus already had his business with Bryan last Thursday on SmackDown. No, Mark Henry comes out. And, he cuts Sheamus off. And the first thing Henry says, though not into a microphone, but, just audibly that we all can hear him, he says, I am your size. So I love it, man. I love it. Mark Henry's always good.
Yeah.
But they have a matchup. It's pretty much what you'd expect. I mean, Henry does get some offense in, and Sheamus does. He's heelish, backing up in the corner, taking his time outside, getting frustrated, like, oh, why am I in this? But, like, I didn't ask to be here. But ultimately, Sheamus does take control back. He does hit a bro kick, ultimately, for the win. Sheamus keeps rolling on. I'm loving this new heel persona that he's brought back with him. It's just been wonderful. I like that he's, going to be in the Intercontinental Championship picture, though he's going to have to wait his turn, I guess, a little bit, because we found out that Bad News Barrett is invoking his rematch clause. He's getting a one-on-one opportunity against Daniel Bryan at Extreme Rules for the IC title. But maybe Sheamus will take on Dolph Ziggler in the meantime. I wouldn't be opposed to that matchup at Extreme Rules. So, that's an idea. But then we get something intriguing, because we get some hype from Rock and Ronda Rousey, and then the Triple Threat main event still to come. But then, as far as actual segments go, Bray Wyatt reemerges, and he's backstage.
Yeah.
And
hang on a second, John. Before we move on, I do want to say, I thought that we were going to get a triple threat, Sheamus, Bryan, and Ziggler tonight, and I was so disappointed that it didn't happen. But I still love Mark Henry, but still, why didn't that happen?
Maybe they're just
because Sheamus said something about facing someone his own size? Like, what?
Dude, I don't know. Maybe because we already got one triple threat for a main event, they didn't want to do two triple threats, in one night. Maybe it's a matchup they're holding off on for the Intercontinental Championship down the road. I mean, in all honesty, I heard rumors that this match could still kind of evolve the Extreme Rules matchup now into a fatal four-way featuring, Bryan, Ziggler, Barrett, and Sheamus. So I don't know where this picture's going or where this train is headed, but I'm just glad that Sheamus is a heel and he's just being just a complete douche to everyone and dominating. It's really, really refreshing. So with that, we get our Bray Wyatt promo, and he pretty much describes somebody, with a drive to succeed, and I know that, within your flesh and bones lies the key to defeating you. So he's targeting somebody new now. Now, apparently a rumor, at least that I heard from somebody going around, is that it could be Roman Reigns. I would personally love, but I mean, obviously we know that that's not going to happen now for other reasons, but, I would love a Bray Wyatt Randy Orton feud down the road. But if it is Roman Reigns, I don't know, that kind of doesn't make sense to me either, because he seems to have his hands full still with the Authority and their own problems. So I really don't know who Bray is talking about. You, I think, even said it could be John Cena again. Maybe Bray's going in for the U.S. title now. I don't know. But yeah, Bray's back to his old cryptic ways. I have to say, though, Ashton, just as an aside, because because I don't have cable, I always watch Raw, on a stream. A lot of people in the chat on the stream I was watching just apparently do not believe in Bray Wyatt anymore. They were referring to him as the guy that doesn't win at pay-per-views, look, the guy I can't take seriously, things of that nature. So I am getting worried. I'm hoping that's just a very vocal minority, because you still saw a lot of people with their cell phones out while he was speaking, all those fireflies coming out. So I'm hoping Bray can get some momentum back with this next feud, pick up a W.
It felt like he was targeting John Cena.
Yeah, I'm interested to see who he's really calling.
One of the words, what did he say that he kept on talking about? Dedication, right?
Yeah, dedication. And I know drive was another one he kind of
yeah,
dropped.
Okay, so you suggested maybe Randy Orton might have been that. That doesn't sound like Randy Orton at all. That sounds like John Cena to me.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds like either John Cena or Daniel Bryan. So he's going after one of the newly crowned mid-card, upper mid-card, main event titles, whatever you want to call them.
I'd actually prefer if it was Daniel Bryan, because Daniel Bryan's
of course you'd prefer it, but I could see him going after either one, and I would be pretty happy with it, because it's like one of those things where he's relatively fresh now, and he hasn't touched Cena in a while, and they've been separate long enough. That could be interesting. And the same could be said for him and Daniel Bryan. They haven't touched for a while. It's a fresh kind of thing now.
I just feel like I prefer Bryan, because we know the kind of matches they can have, so obviously that's the thing. But I think even deeper than that, I think Bray would serve his function better as a heel if it was Bryan, because Bryan's already so beloved, and he already, because of his stature and everything else, comes off as an underdog. And
I agree with that. I'm going to sign on to that with you now, because that's a really great point. Bray needs heat back, and John Cena is not going to be the one to get it for him.
John Cena's not going to be the one to give it for him, and it does great for Bryan, because let's be honest, as much as we find Cena interesting again, he's already climbed the top of the mountain so many times he's privatized it. It's his, as far as I'm concerned. Bryan, this could be a nice little, kick up for his reign after he gets done with Barrett, Ziggler, and I don't know how long his stuff with Sheamus is going to go, because Bryan has never beaten Bray Wyatt. So him beating Bray Wyatt for the Intercontinental Championship, I would consider a significant deal, because he overcame somebody that before he couldn't beat. And I just think that just makes the story far more compelling than returning to Bray Wyatt, John Cena. So I just wanted to make clear that's why I have a preference for Bray.
Yeah. I agree completely.
All right, we go from that to Renee Young backstage with Ryback, and he says tonight is, they say everything is bigger in Texas, and tonight is a big opportunity. He says he will go on to face Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight title. He says, Reigns and Orton will find out why the big guy is hungry for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and then he starts another Feed Me More chant. So, good, succinct promo from the big guy. No complaints here. Moving on. We get The Miz versus Damian Mizdow. Now, I'm going to field this one again back to you, Ashton. There was a debate again going on in the whole chat that I was a part of. They should have saved this match, or they should have had this match at a pay-per-view. I would be inclined to agree if it wasn't for, the outcome, because now I feel like it's okay that they had it on TV given the finish that we had. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't even know what to say.
Do you feel like this feud has kind of lost steam now because they just kind of did whatever at WrestleMania and then it's kind of whatever with the follow-up? Or, where do you kind of think we are here?
I don't know. Do you think that they're going to do something about it at Extreme Rules?
Maybe. And you know what? It's funny because the way you kind of answer the question, I feel like that kind of answers it, because I'm right there with you, because like at WrestleMania, Mizdow tossed out Miz, in the Battle Royal. And,
I think the most frustrating thing is that they basically blew the feud off already.
Yeah. I think
I feel like they I get what they're trying to do. I get that they're kind of trying to build up the point where Mizdow finally beats The Miz, but The Miz already has a win over Mizdow, and the only real cheating that went into it was grabbing the tights, so it's not even really that dirty of a win.
Yeah, I can see your point. I think where my frustration is that, I mean, you already know that I feel like Mizdow should have won the Battle Royal to kind of really get that crowning moment where he does become the quote-unquote star. But, I mean, I think you made some good points as to why Big Show, it was okay for him to win and whatever. And I'm like, okay. But I think my big problem was I really wanted these guys to kind of have their own segment where maybe Miz would call out Mizdow and they would kind of have a promo segment or whatever, you know, kind of just really build up to Extreme Rules. But then you just get like these beatdowns after matchups, and then you get this matchup, which wasn't bad by any means, but then, you know, Miz gets the win. And I think it goes back to your point. It already kind of feels like the business has been settled. Now they're just starting to linger. And I was worried about this because this is one of the really better undercard feuds going into WrestleMania. And now we're here. Not to say that I want to, you know, talk the piss out of it and say that it's horrendous, because it's not. I just feel like the execution could have been a little bit better as we were so close to the finish line. And I just think that's kind of where I'm deflated, to put a term to it.
Yeah.
So Miz does get the win after a nice back and forth matchup.